Well, hello out there to all you styrene users and abusers. This is George coming to you tonight from the kitchen table at Kitchen Table Scale Models with my final video reveal of the Fat Fenders, Fins and Chrome group build that Rob at Time Machine Scale Models released upon us. Shout out to Rob. I think this was a great idea for a build. Specific enough, but it certainly allowed for some flexibility. When Rob announced this build, I reached out to him and told him, look, I've got this 47 Chevy I've already started. I'd really like to include it. Can I? And he said, well, how much have you gotten done on it? And I told him, you know, I had some of the engine started, I think some of the chassis, and had the body painted at that point. I actually did this about a year ago, before I got distracted by group builds. So I started it, sat in a box while we did a bunch of other group builds, and really wanted to get back to it. And Rob announcing this topic for his build gave me an opportunity to do just that. And I want to thank him for allowing me to enter a kit that had already been started. This, as you can see, is the Galaxie Limited 1947 Chevy Fleetmaster kit. Done as kind of a lowrider, mild custom, and I'm really tickled with it. These kits are fabulous. This is the second one I've done. The first one I used a chop top coupe body from Chevy Flintstone. Was one of the first resin bodies I ever used, so I was kind of learning with it. This kit had a few little assembly glitches, mostly due to my own just not paying attention. Color on this is Tamiya. This is all Tamiya acrylic. It's Tamiya pink, as you can see, and the top is titanium silver, which is really a nice silver. I got a little touch up to do on this, but it's for all intents and purposes it's done. Probably going to go on the shelf. Like a couple things about this model, as well as this kit. Let me turn this off and we can start exploring a little bit. Before we get into that, let me just explain right now, for those of you who are wondering, I had some problems with the fit on the fender. In fact, you can see where here it's actually pulled loose, and I need to reposition it. And because the fender didn't quite line up the way I wanted it to, which is a little tricky to do anyway. When I put the hood on it, there was about a scale 3-inch gap at the back of the hood. So I decided, with a little encouragement from my buddy Billy Bear, I decided to build it with an open hood. I used the hinges that come on the hood that allowed me to do this. And so it will be displayed with the hood open. Because I couldn't get the fenders to line up, which caused misalignment in the hood. But I think that's just as well, because I really like the way the engine compartment in this came out. Let me see if I can bring this in a little closer here. You know, this is the pretty much the stock. Let's see if we can zoom something in here. Probably help if I could hold it still, wouldn't it? Come on, guys, focus. Give me a break. This is pretty much out of the box. You know, the only thing I added to this is a pre-wired distributor, and I can't remember who it was that did it offhand, so I need to apologize for that. Added the kit decals that come for the engine. I discovered that I can't remember if it was Gunze or Tamiya. I think it's Gunze. Red gold made a really nice color for the carburetor. Firewall, everything else in there is brush painted Tamiya semi-gloss black. I really like the way the interior came out on this, and I hope I can get it to focus. If you're familiar with this kit, you know that. Let's see what we can do here. Come on, work with me. Yeah, it doesn't want to play. There's too much going on here. and that's why I do most of my videoing in the basement. You can kind of see the seats on this. If you're familiar with this kit, you know the seats are kind of textured, almost like a corduroy. I painted them gray first, and they looked nice, but you know they just didn't have any life. So I decided to play around a little bit with some panel liner, which filled in the creases, if you will, and really made the texture pop. Chrome is bare metal foil. The moon discs are from ProTech scale models. Those are the stock tires that came with the kit. This kit can be built two ways, with kind of a stock height or a lowered suspension. I decided to lower the suspension because I was doing a lowrider. This, again, I said this is the second one of my kit. If anybody's familiar with these real cars and knows what this little round device is underneath the driver's seat, I'd sure like to know what that is. That's got me curious. It looks like it's got some hoses or something going to it. It's got me scratching my head as to what the heck it could be. The chassis was painted with the titanium silver as well, or the frame. And weathered lightly with just a little bit of panel liner. If I had this to do over again, or if I could do it over again, I'd do a couple things differently. What I would definitely do is I don't know what possessed me to do the engine compartment in gloss black. Other than the fact that all the photos I've seen of this real car, regardless of the body color, the inner fenders and firewall were black, semi-gloss black. I kind of should have kept it in pink. I think it would have looked nicer. Gave me a little more contrast with the engine. Again, if you're familiar with this kit, or the real car, it came with this really cool visor. I would love to build one of these and incorporate the visor, because it's kind of a characteristic feature of this car. Unfortunately, I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get it to glue and fasten to the body cleanly. I've got some ideas. I think I might be able to use it on one of my next builds to kind of pin it and drill and pin. So yeah, this is it. I did put the California 047 license plates on this. True story, for the longest time I was referring to this model as either the Pink Pig or Molly. And you might ask, why Molly? Well, those of you who remember the movie from the 80s, Pretty in Pink, remember Molly Ringwald, who starred in that movie. And that was, it was just a typical 80s movie. I think Richard Gere was in it, or maybe I'm thinking of something else. I don't know. In any case, I was going to call it Molly, but I don't know. I had a hard time referring to a model car as Molly. So, it started to be referred to as, I'm going to go work on the Pink Pig. So, it's not quite a pig, and it's not all pink, but I just think she sure is pretty, and I just absolutely love these Galaxie kits. I have 4 more in my stash, 2 more of the Fleetmaster kits, 1 of the coupes, and 1 of the sedan deliveries. I had another one, and I sold the sedan delivery at a swap meet. I do want to build one as kind of a gasser street rod. I do have an earlier version of this kit that I already built as a chop top custom. I've never done a video on that. Maybe I will, just for giggles. But I digest again. Where was I? I don't know. I'm here looking at a model. I'll build a coupe. Want to build it as a kind of a crazy drag car street rod. I might use one of the 3D printed stove bolt hot rod 6s that I picked up from, I don't know, Texas 3D or somebody like that. They got a pretty wild couple pretty wild stove bolt 6s that I think would make a nice addition to a drag car. And as you can see on the box, there's some cool flame decals. Right, whoop, my light got in the way. You can see those flame decals up there. Use some flames on it. Again, make kind of a old school hot rod drag car. I've got another Jimmy Flintstone body. This time it's a convertible. I plan on doing something with that, and I don't know what color I'm going to paint it. Lastly, I've got to build at least one version of the Fleetmaster with the wood sides, and I might do that as much as I kind of abhor the concept of resto rods for reasons I won't get into on this video because nobody will ever watch me again. I'm just not big on the concept of resto mods, but I think I'm going to do it like maybe an early 60s, late 60s, kind of a street machine, drop up maybe a 283 two-barrel, or 283 with 4 barrels, like an old Corvette motor or something like that, just to kind of make it more like a period 60s car. I don't want to go any more modern than that. I'll get into it one time on a video, but there's a reason. I'm very specific. I just don't like many cars that came after early 70s, mid 70s, and I enjoyed what the hobby was and what cars were before then, much more than modern cars and what's going on now. Not that I don't enjoy it. You know what? Those are the cars I grew up. I like to build models of cars that I could have conceivably seen on the streets of my hometown in Wayne, New Jersey, which, if you are familiar, is the home of the NNL East. So if you've not been to the NNL East show, it is the granddaddy of East Coast shows. You really need to check it out. I think it's the last week in April. So anyway, I'm babbling, and you don't want to hear me babble. By now, probably 90% of the people who started watching this video have stopped. So I'm going to stop too. Thanks for watching. Check on back. And again, shout out to Rob for doing this group build.